The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, a fan retelling Part 1, The Call of Courage. Chapter 1, Awakening. In the tranquil cradle of Kokori's forest, where ancient trees stretched their branches like protectors reaching for the sky, life hummed with quiet magic. The air was thick with the scent of moss and earth, dappled sunlight playing on the emerald leaves. Here, childhood was eternal. The Kokoris were a secretive folk, forest children who never aged, forever shielded by their mystical guardian fairies. Each child's spirit was tethered to a light that danced invisibly by their side, their laughter ringing through the woods like the tinkling of chimes. Yet one boy was different. Link, a child without a fairy. The absence was not lost on him, nor on the Kokoris around him. His green tunic and cap, worn yet clean, marked him as one destined for more than simple woodland games. Despite the playful taunts from Mito, the Kokoris leader, "No fairy? You're not really one of us, huh?" There was a spark within Link's deep eyes that bespoke a courage far beyond his years. Surya, the gentle soul of the forest, was one of Link's closest friends and confidantes. Her presence was like a soothing breeze, warm and reassuring. "You're brave, Link," she said softly, the glow of her fairy light flickering gently. "The forest feels different around you. Something important awaits." Link listened, absorbing the unspoken truth that lingered between them. He could not speak, but his actions were clear. He was ready to face whatever destiny awaited. The forest children taught Link much about their way of life, their friendship with the trees, the secret paths only known to them, and the magical tools they carried. Among these were the slingshot, used to fire pebbles with surprising accuracy, and the Kokori's sword, a simple but effective blade forged to protect the innocent. The Kokori's shield, emblazoned with the emblem of their forest home, a green leaf surrounded by vines, was given to Link with solemn respect. "Protect yourself with this shield," said the elder Kokori, voice hushed yet firm. "But remember, the shield only guards the body. It cannot guard the spirit. That strength comes from within." Link lifted the shield, its weight familiar, steadying his resolve. Before he could step beyond the safety of the forest, Link was told tales older than the tallest tree. The land of Hyrule, the vast kingdom that sprawled beyond the forest's edge, was forged by the hands of three golden goddesses, Din, Nayru, and Farore. From their power, the world had been created, and with it, the sacred Triforce. Three golden triangles embodying power, wisdom, and courage. The Triforce grants the wish of whoever touches it, the elder told him. But it is also a beacon to those who would misuse its power. It was said that long ago, the evil Ganondorf, king of the Gerudo tribe, had sought to seize the Triforce to conquer Hyrule, but was thwarted by the hero of time, who sealed him away in the sacred realm. Now that evil was stirring once again. At the heart of Kokori's forest stood the great Deku tree, an ancient sentinel of bark and leaf, whose roots burrowed deep into the earth and whose branches reached to the heavens. The tree was both protector and prophet, his voice a thunderous whisper in the wind. "Link," the Deku tree rumbled, "the curse of darkness has touched me. My strength fades as evil grows. You must cleanse this forest before the shadow spreads." The tree's vast eyes glowed with sorrow, ancient knowledge etched into every crevice of his bark. He revealed a malevolent force, a spawn of darkness lurking within his own chambers, a venomous spider-like creature infecting the heart of the forest's life. The great Deku tree entrusted Link with a sacred task, to enter his trunk and rid the evil from within. Before entering the tree, Link's sword was sharpened, the blade gleaming in the dappled light. The Kokori's shield was strapped firmly to his arm. He also gathered a few precious items from the forest, slingshot ammunition, a few healing herbs, and the magic beans that sprouted from the fertile earth, promising aid in times of need. Though he did not speak, the glint in Link's eyes was clear. He understood the gravity of the journey ahead. Saria stepped beside him once more, offering a gift. "When you're lost, close your eyes and think of me. I will be your guide." Link nodded silently, the connection between them a tether of hope and friendship. With the blessing of the Kokoris, the sword at his side and shield on his arm, Link moved towards the towering great Deku tree. His footsteps were steady, his spirit unyielding. The forest seemed to hold its breath, watching as its chosen hero prepared to face the darkness within. Chapter 2, The Great Deku Tree. The ancient bark creaked and groaned like a living fortress as Link approached the base of the great Deku tree. His small hands rested on the hilt of his sword, his shield firm on his arm. The air around him thickened, heavy with an ominous weight that unsettled the peaceful forest. This was no ordinary day. The great Deku tree's immense eyes, wide and sorrowful, opened slowly. His voice, deep and echoing like the rumble of distant thunder, greeted Link. "Ah, Link, I have been waiting for you." Though Link remained silent, his gaze was steady, unwavering. "A dark curse plagues my heart," the Deku tree said, his voice heavy with ancient grief. "An evil spawn festers within me, poisoning the forest. It is a poison only you can cleanse." The tree's massive branches swayed, casting long shadows as he continued. "Within my roots lies the source of this darkness. You must enter and destroy it." With a final nod from Link, the Deku tree parted a gnarled doorway carved deep into his trunk, revealing a dim passage that descended into shadow. Inside, the air grew thick with decay. The passage was lined with twisted roots, and the faintest shimmer of glowing fungus clung to the walls, casting eerie green light. This was Link's first true test. The echoes of unseen creatures slithered and skittered in the dark. Small skulltulas, spider-like beasts with glowing eyes, hung in webs that blocked the path, their venomous bites a danger to any who dared proceed. Link drew his sword silently, the blade catching faint light as he deftly cut through webs and dispatched the lurking foes with precise strikes. Along the way, he discovered hidden alcoves containing items vital to his quest. From a chest, he retrieved the Deku shield, a sturdy wooden shield crafted from the bark of ancient trees, designed to protect him from harm. It was heavier and more reliable than the fragile Kokori's shield he had carried before. Further along, a treasure glimmered in the shadows. The Deku nuts, small but potent projectiles that could stun enemies when thrown. They would prove invaluable in combat against foes too quick or too dangerous for the sword. Deeper into the tree's labyrinthine interior, the walls throbbed with malevolent energy. The oppressive darkness grew denser as Link approached the heart of the corruption. Finally, in a chamber illuminated by sickly green light, he faced the source of the poison. A massive, grotesque Queen Goma, a monstrous arachnid with a single glaring red eye, dripping venom and malice. The battle was fierce and unforgiving. Queen Goma's eye was vulnerable, but it opened only briefly, just before her attacks. Link's reflexes, sharpened by his training, allowed him to strike true with his sword and stun her with a well-timed Deku nut. After a tense and exhausting duel, Queen Goma collapsed in a heap, her evil broken. With the creature defeated, the corruption began to lift. The great tree's wounds healed, and a warm golden light filled the chamber. The Deku tree's voice returned, calm and full of gratitude. "You have done well, young hero. The forest is safe once more." Yet there was a new urgency in his tone. "But your journey has only just begun. Beyond this forest lies Hyrule Castle, where the fate of the land itself will be decided." He pressed a small, ancient relic into Link's hand, the fairy slingshot, an early but powerful weapon for ranged attacks. "Go now," the great Deku tree said. "Seek Princess Zelda. She will guide you on the path to save Hyrule." Link emerged from the great tree, the sunlight warm and bright upon his face. The Kokori's forest seemed alive with renewed hope, but the weight of his quest pressed heavily on his shoulders. With sword, shield, and slingshot at his side, he stepped beyond the forest's edge, onto the dusty roads that led to Hyrule Castle. The vast kingdom awaited, a place of towering walls, bustling townsfolk, and hidden dangers. In his heart, Link carried the words of the great Deku tree and the hope of the Kokori's people. The hero's journey had truly begun. As Link stepped out from the shadowed depths of the great Deku tree, the forest seemed to breathe anew. Leaves rustled softly in the breeze, and shafts of sunlight pierced the canopy, illuminating the mossy floor beneath his feet. The sickness that had once hung over Kokori's forest had lifted, replaced by a fragile sense of peace. Moving through the familiar paths, Link's heart, though silent, was filled with a quiet hope. Among the trees, a gentle voice called to him, clear and warm as ever. "Link!" Turning, he saw Saria, her emerald eyes sparkling with relief and joy. Her fairy light hovered close, a comforting glow that seemed to brighten even the dimmest corners of the woods. Without words, Saria stepped forward, offering Link a small, carved wooden case, the Ocarina of Time. "I want you to have this," she said softly. "The song you play on it will always connect us, no matter where you are." Link accepted the gift carefully, the smooth surface of the ocarina cool and smooth in his hands. As his fingers traced the delicate holes, a quiet understanding passed between them, a promise that their bond would endure whatever trials lay ahead. "When you play the ocarina," Saria explained, "think of me. The melody will guide you, and I will be with you in spirit." The forest seemed to hold its breath as Link raised the ocarina to his lips and blew gently. The clear, haunting notes floated through the air, songs of courage, hope, and friendship. For a moment, the past and future merged. A boy without a fairy, now the chosen hero, ready to face the darkness that threatened all of Hyrule. Saria's smile was both bittersweet and full of faith. "Go now, Link. The path is yours." With the Ocarina of Time safe in his grasp, Link turned away, stepping onto the winding road leading toward Hyrule Castle, his destiny unfolding with each silent step. Chapter 3: Journey to the Castle. The road from Kokori's forest to Hyrule Castle stretched long and winding, bordered by fields of golden grass swaying gently in the breeze. Link's footsteps were steady and sure, each step echoing his resolve. Though the forest's shadow still lingered faintly behind him, the sprawling kingdom ahead beckoned with new promise and challenges. The high stone walls of Hyrule Castle rose proudly against the horizon, crowned by fluttering banners bearing the royal crest, a symbol of hope and authority. The bustling town outside the castle gates was alive with the noise of daily life. Merchants hawked their wares in vibrant stalls that spilled into narrow streets. Townsfolk moved purposefully, some pausing to smile at the green-capped boy who had entered their midst. Link took in his surroundings with cautious curiosity. The market was a tapestry of color and sound. The clink of coins, the laughter of children chasing stray chickens, and the rich aroma of fresh bread mingling with the earthy scent of nearby fields. As Link wandered through the market, the inhabitants of Hyrule noticed the young stranger. Though he spoke no words, their greetings came freely. "You look like someone destined for greatness," said the shopkeeper of the potion shop, wiping his hands on a rag. "You'll need these if you want to survive the dangers beyond." From behind the counter, Link glimpsed rows of colorful bottles, green, red, and blue potions, each promising to restore health or magic. Though expensive, their value was unquestionable. Near the bomb shop, a burly man named Bomber shared a nod of approval. "If you want to blow up rocks or uncover secrets, you'll want to grab some bombs. They're dangerous, but useful." Link also encountered the old man who ran the archery shop, offering him arrows and tips on aiming with the slingshot he carried. The man's voice carried wisdom, a hint that skill and patience would be as important as bravery. Aware that his journey would be fraught with peril, Link made careful stops at each stall. From the potion shop, he purchased a small supply of green potions, their glowing liquid promising to heal wounds that sword and shield could not prevent. At the bomb shop, he acquired a handful of bombs, stored carefully in a satchel at his side, their ticking potential a reminder of destructive power held in fragile shells. The archery shop gifted him a quiver of arrows, tightly packed and ready to fly, true at his command. In a quieter corner of the market, Link found a humble stall selling fairy bottles, small glass containers designed to safely hold a fairy, magical creatures capable of reviving a fallen hero when caught within. Remembering the forest and Saria's promise, Link felt the importance of such protection keenly. As the sun began to lower, casting long shadows over the castle walls, Link's path led him to the castle courtyard, where the atmosphere grew heavier with expectation. Knights in gleaming armor marched solemnly, their eyes watchful but respectful. Servants bustled about, preparing for what was whispered to be an urgent meeting with Princess Zelda herself. Though Link was but a boy among kings and courtiers, his quiet determination drew the eyes of those who understood the tides of fate. That evening, as Link rested beneath a sprawling oak in the castle town square, he allowed himself a rare moment of stillness. The ocarina rested in his hands, smooth and comforting. He thought of Saria, the great Deku tree, and the dark shadows that lay ahead. Though the path was uncertain, one truth was clear: Hyrule needed a hero. and the silent boy from Kokori's forest was ready to answer the call. Chapter 4: Meeting a Princess. The towering walls of Hyrule Castle loomed in the dusk, their cold stone bathed in the last light of day. Link approached cautiously, the weight of his quest pressing upon his shoulders like the heavy air before a storm. The guards patrolling the castle's outer courtyards were sharp-eyed and vigilant. Their armor gleamed under the fading sun, and their footsteps echoed with authority. To approach openly would be folly. Link's only option was stealth. Silently, Link slipped between the shadows of archways and stone pillars. He crouched low, muscles tense and senses alert, timing each movement to avoid the soldiers' sweeping lantern beams. His green tunic blended with the creeping twilight, and the quiet forest boy became a ghost in the castle's labyrinth. Every narrow corridor and grand hall was a test of patience and resolve. The scent of polished wood and distant torchlight filled the air as Link moved deeper toward the heart of the castle. At last, he arrived in the castle's private chambers, where the royal light fell softly through stained glass windows. There, standing with a calm grace that belied her youth, was Princess Zelda herself. Her eyes, sharp and wise beyond her years, met Link's without hesitation. "You must be the one the great Deku tree spoke of," she said quietly. "Hyrule depends on you, Link. Ganondorf's shadow grows darker each day." Though Link said nothing, his earnest gaze conveyed his readiness. "I have seen your courage," Zelda continued, "but you must be careful. The evil that threatens this land watches all corners. We cannot let him know we are united." Before Link could respond, a faint noise echoed in the hall, footsteps of approaching guards. Suddenly, the chamber door burst open, and from the shadows stepped Impa, Zelda's loyal guardian. Her eyes were sharp and commanding. "There is no time to waste," she said sternly. "Come with me now." Guided by Impa's swift movements and knowledge of hidden passages, Link slipped through secret doors and twisting corridors, narrowly evading capture. Outside the castle walls, the night was cool and filled with distant sounds of the restless kingdom. Impa's words echoed in Link's mind. "Ganondorf seeks the sacred stones. We must reach Death Mountain before it's too late." The path ahead was treacherous and urgent. Passing through Kakariko village, Link caught only a fleeting glimpse of its quiet homes and cobblestone streets. There was no time to linger. The village's peace was a fragile thing he would return to later. His footsteps quickened, following the winding trails leading into the shadowed foothills of Death Mountain. The air grew thick with heat and the scent of sulfur as Link neared the mountain's base. Jagged rocks and steaming vents marked the terrain as the land itself seemed to pulse with volcanic fury. Here dwelled the Gorons, giant rock-skinned beings known for their strength and resilience. Link was wary but determined. The Gorons were known to be proud and wary of outsiders, yet the fate of Hyrule depended on their alliance. At the mouth of a vast cavern, Dodongo's Cavern, Link encountered the Goron leader, a towering figure named Darunia. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "What brings a forest boy to the fires of Death Mountain?" Link's silent presence, combined with the urgency in his eyes and the sacred relics he carried, spoke volumes. Darunia's expression softened. "If you seek to stop Ganondorf, then you will face the beast that dwells within the cavern." Dodongo's cavern yawned before Link like the maw of some ancient beast. Its walls were jagged and blackened by fire, the air thick with heat and danger. Within, giant Dodongos, massive dinosaur-like creatures, lurked, guarding the way forward. This dungeon would test Link's courage and skill, demanding both cleverness and bravery. Link prepared himself, gripping his sword and shield tightly. The journey was far from over, but every step brought him closer to saving Hyrule. The echoes of his footsteps were swallowed by the cavern's darkness as the silent hero stepped into the unknown. Chapter 5: Fire and Brotherhood. The roar of magma echoed through the yawning darkness as Link stepped across the threshold of Dodongo's cavern. The air was thick with sulfur and smoke. The oppressive heat beat down on his skin, and the floor trembled faintly with the movement of creatures within. This was no ordinary cave. It was ancient and sacred to the Goron people, once a place of tradition and ritual. But now it had become a prison for monsters, twisted by Ganondorf's influence. The king of the Gerudo, in his hunger for power, had blocked off the Goron's food supply by awakening the beasts within and threatening the tribe with starvation unless they relinquished the Goron's ruby. They had refused, and they had suffered. Now, it was up to Link to face the evil in their stead. The cavern twisted and turned like the belly of some great beast. Gouts of flame burst from the floor and walls, pathways crumbled beneath Link's feet, and heavy stone blocks shifted like puzzle pieces requiring clever timing and quick movement. Fire keese, bats engulfed in flame, fluttered above in screeching spirals while Beamos, ancient watchful machines, swept magical beams across the ground, vaporizing anything that crossed their paths. Dodging and deflecting, Link pressed deeper into the mountain's heart, solving mechanisms left behind by ancient Goron engineers, timing his use of bomb flowers to destroy crumbling walls, open sealed doors, and activate massive stone lifts. The deeper he ventured, the louder the rumble in the earth became. Something ancient was stirring below. At the bottom of the cavern, Link stood before an immense circular chamber. The ground was blackened glass from years of searing heat, and lava surged beneath iron grates. The air pulsed with malevolent energy. From the shadows, a roar thundered, a sound that shook the stones loose from the ceiling. King Dodongo, the ancient reptilian lord of the mountain, emerged from a smoking tunnel. Its armored body was the size of a house, its mouth a blazing furnace. Its eyes locked onto Link, hungry, hateful, primal. The battle was brutal. King Dodongo lumbered forward with every intention of crushing Link beneath its massive claws. But Link was quick. Using bomb flowers scattered around the arena, he baited the beast, throwing bombs into its open mouth mid-roar. Each explosion rocked its skull, sending it reeling. Then, with timing precise as clockwork, Link leapt in and struck with his blade. The final blast sent King Dodongo crashing into the lava below, its body swallowed in molten flame. The mountain shuddered. The chamber lit up with a final flash. It was done. When Link returned to the surface, weary but victorious, he was met with joyous celebration. Darunia, chief of the Gorons, awaited him at the entrance to their city, arms crossed and beaming with pride. His gruff demeanor was gone, replaced by something softer, genuine respect. "Brother," Darunia bellowed, clapping a massive hand on Link's shoulder with enough force to nearly knock him down. "You risked your life for my people. You freed our home from the monsters. From this day forward, you are my sworn brother." He reached into a heavy satchel and drew forth the Goron's ruby, a perfectly cut, crimson gem that shimmered with inner fire. It was the spiritual stone of fire, one of the 3 keys to the sacred realm. "Take it. You've earned it," Darunia said solemnly. "But know this, Ganondorf will not stop here. Evil will spread like wildfire if you don't act swiftly." Link accepted the stone in silence, holding it up to the light. The second piece of the ancient puzzle was now his. Darunia chuckled, his voice echoing off the cliffs. "We Gorons don't take Brotherhood lightly. One day, I'll teach you our secret handshake. But first, go. I can tell your path leads beyond the mountain." As the Gorons celebrated with rolling dances and booming song, Link turned back toward the trail leading to Zora's domain, where the final spiritual stone, the Zora's sapphire, was said to rest. The wind blew hot behind him and cool ahead. He pressed onward. Chapter 6 of Refuge, Rivers, and Rolling Fields. As the crimson light of sunset bathed the slopes of Death Mountain, Link descended the winding trail toward Kakariko Village, weary from the heat and fire of Dodongo's cavern. The village lay nestled in a bowl of low hills and old stone paths, ringed by wooden fences and watched over by the silent, looming graveyard to the east. A windmill turned slowly in the breeze, its blades creaking rhythmically, soothing in the stillness of early evening. Kakariko was simple, humble, and safe. The villagers, mostly Sheikah descendants under the protection of the royal family, welcomed Link kindly, offering food and a cot in an empty stable near the Kuko pen. Their faces were marked by quiet lives, but their eyes held respect for the young traveler bearing a Kokori's blade and the look of silent purpose. Link wandered the village before resting, exploring its modest shops and back alleys. He spoke to no one, yet they remembered him. From the bazaar, he purchased additional bombs, a new Deku shield to replace his scorched one, and recovery items offered by a mysterious masked merchant who muttered cryptic phrases under his breath. A small boy warned Link not to wander into the graveyard at night, whispering tales of the royal composer brothers, restless spirits that haunted the crypts beneath. Link silently took note. As twilight deepened, the fires in the hearths flickered to life. Link rested on a bed of straw under the stars. For the first time in many nights, his dreams were still. At dawn, Link rose early and departed. The golden fields of Hyrule stretched wide before him, the distant mountains at his back, and the shimmer of rivers and plains on the horizon. He passed beneath the stone gate that marked the edge of Kakariko and followed a well-worn road that bent westward toward Lon Lon Ranch. The sound of birdsong and the rustling grass accompanied him. Though the land seemed peaceful, he felt the tension below the surface. Ganondorf's influence crept slowly across the kingdom. The spiritual stones were the key to stopping it. He carried two. Only one remained. In the heart of Hyrule's rolling pastures sat Lon Lon Ranch, a ring of white fencing around soft grass and proud stables. The scent of hay and the sound of neighing horses greeted Link as he stepped into the corral. There he met Malon, a red-haired farm girl with a voice as clear as the sky and a song always on her lips. She noticed him right away and smiled. "You must be a traveler," she said. "You've got that look in your eyes. Not lost, but going somewhere important." Link nodded slightly. Malon led him to the fence, where a small chestnut filly trotted toward them. Epona, wild and untamed but curious. "She's shy around strangers," Malon said, "but I sing to her every day. It helps calm her." She sang a soft, lilting melody, Epona's song, and the filly perked up immediately, cantering toward them and nudging Malon's shoulder. Link listened, committing the tune to memory as he often did with melodies that held power. Inside the farmhouse, Link met Talon, Malon's jovial, sleepy father, who offered him milk and tales of simpler times. The ranch, though peaceful, felt like an island in a sea of gathering shadows. Before he left, Malon handed Link a bottle of Lon Lon milk, smiling warmly. "Come back one day," she said. "When your journey's over, Epona will be waiting." From the ranch, Link continued east and then north, where the road dwindled into a wild, winding path along Zora's River. Trees grew thick around the banks, and the sound of rushing water drowned all else. The path was narrow, often blocked by fallen logs and boulders. Link climbed and leapt, using bombs to clear away obstacles. Mischievous Octorok spat stones from the water's edge, and buzzing Tektites leapt from the shallows to ambush him. Higher up, he met an odd, cheerful man seated under a tree playing a strange flute-like instrument. He swayed back and forth, eyes closed. "If you've got a good tune in your heart, the river might just part for you," the man said cryptically. Link raised the ocarina and played Malon's song. Though nothing changed immediately, the music gave him strength. At last, he reached a great waterfall, cascading down the mountain face with thundering force. A stone plaque near the base bore an inscription, "Play the song of the royal family, and the water shall reveal the path." Link thought back to his meeting with Princess Zelda. She had hummed a soft tune while speaking of destiny. He raised the ocarina once more and played Zelda's lullaby, a tune old as the Sheikah themselves. The waterfall shimmered, pulsed, and then parted down the middle, revealing a hidden cave behind. Without hesitation, Link stepped forward into the heart of Zora's domain. The inside was like nothing he had seen, a majestic cavern carved of ice-blue stone, illuminated by glowing torches and glistening pools. Bridges of polished crystal arched over running streams, and the soft murmur of water echoed off high ceilings. The Zora, graceful aquatic beings with pale blue skin and long fins, glided through the waters and along the polished floors with elegance. Link had entered their realm in peace, but not without purpose. The final spiritual stone awaited. Chapter 7: The Crystal Sanctuary. Zora's domain was a tranquil place, peaceful, pristine, almost untouched by the creeping darkness beyond. The sound of flowing water echoed through its caverns like a lullaby, the air cool and refreshing. Gentle light filtered through translucent stone, casting rippling reflections across smooth floors. Fish darted through crystalline pools, and waterfalls cascaded from heights above into sacred springs. Link, ever silent, stood at the edge of the central chamber and observed the regal figure upon the throne. King Zora the 16th, rotund and solemn, sat like a great boulder atop his platform. His eyes, though half-lidded and tired, studied Link with a flicker of curiosity. A Kokoro child come to Zora's domain? Rare indeed, the king rumbled. What business do you have with the Zora? Link offered the royal family's letter, entrusted to him by Princess Zelda. The seal glittered in the soft light. King Zora leaned forward, agonizingly slowly, and examined it. This is from Princess Zelda herself, he said, his eyes narrowing. It speaks of evil gathering in Hyrule, and it mentions Ruto. A ripple of concern passed across his massive face. My daughter, Princess Ruto, has gone missing. Days ago she entered the chamber of Lord Jabu Jabu and has not returned. We have done nothing, for Jabu Jabu is our guardian deity. We dare not interfere with his will. He shifted slowly to the side, painfully, ponderously, revealing a winding passageway. Go to the shrine at the back of our domain, he said gravely. There you will find Jabu Jabu. If you truly wish to help, perhaps he will allow you passage. Take this, he gestured, and a young attendant handed Link a silver fish, its gills fluttering. Ruto's favorite food, perhaps it will stir our Lord's attention. Link nodded in silent understanding. Link walked the narrow, icy path to Zora's fountain, a moonlit lake nestled in a ring of stone and glacier. Mist drifted above the water's surface, and at its heart rested Lord Jabu Jabu, an enormous whale-like creature with deep, ancient eyes and a noble stillness. The great fish floated in silence, unmoving, mouth closed, as if meditating. Link stepped forward and gently released the fish from his arms. It fluttered toward the water's edge, and in a sudden, titanic motion, Jabu Jabu inhaled. The water surged forward, pulling Link with it, and everything vanished in a blinding rush. When Link opened his eyes, he was inside. The walls around him pulsed and throbbed with organic life. The air was moist, the ground slick with mucus and membrane. Giant tentacles writhed in the distance. Parasitic enemies clung to the walls, twitching and skittering. The dungeon was alive. Strange switches reacted to electrical impulses. Pulsing sacs opened pathways when struck. Link quickly realized this place had become infected. Jabu Jabu was not merely a dungeon, but a being in pain. He pressed deeper, guided by instinct, until he found her. Princess Ruto stood in a wide chamber, arms crossed, her demeanor calm but unmistakably annoyed. You, she said. You're the one my father sent, aren't you? Figures. I don't need help. I'm perfectly capable of handling this myself. Link blinked. Ruto gave him a long, judging look. Well, since you're here, she huffed, you can carry me. To Link's surprise, she climbed into his arms without hesitation, treating the arrangement like a royal decree. Navigating Jabu Jabu's insides with Ruto was no easy task. Link carried her across shifting platforms, over pits of mucus and bile, dodging stingers, shaboms, and tentacled growths. Ugh, this place is disgusting, Ruto muttered. And I dropped something very important in here, my mother's stone. The Zora's sapphire. Link's eyes widened. The final spiritual stone. Their journey led them to the central chamber, where massive tentacles blocked the way forward. Link severed each grotesque appendage by striking their roots deep within Jabu Jabu's inner chambers, using the boomerang he found earlier, a tool of precision and balance. At last, with the barriers destroyed, they arrived at the final chamber. There, they found the cause of the infection. Baronade, a grotesque, jellyfish-like monstrosity fused to the ceiling, pulsed with electricity and malice. Sparks crackled across its hide as it lowered itself to attack, rotating in a deadly ring of tendrils and lightning. Link fought with desperate speed. He struck with the boomerang to sever its connections. He dodged arcs of electrical fire. When it crashed to the floor, he unleashed a flurry of sword strikes. Again and again, until at last Baronade shrieked in agony and burst into light and smoke. The chamber fell silent. Outside, in the cool air of Zora's fountain, Ruto stood beside Link and placed something in his hands. A radiant sapphire, blue as the deepest sea. This is the Zora's sapphire, our most precious treasure, she said solemnly. It is a sacred stone passed down by the Zora royal family, and now I'm giving it to you. She stepped closer, smiling mischievously. You're my fiancé now, you know. That's what it means when a Zora gives their stone to someone. Link blinked. Ruto giggled and turned away. Don't forget it. He looked down at the stone. The third and final spiritual stone. The time had come. The gates to the sacred realm could now be opened. But what awaited beyond? Chapter 8, The Door of Time. The skies above Hyrule boiled with storm clouds. Lightning cracked over Hyrule Castle town as Link raced through the gates, clutching the third spiritual stone to his chest. The Zora's Sapphire, last of the sacred trio, pulsed with energy. The Goron's Ruby and Kokiri's Emerald hung in pouches at his belt. The gate guards had fled. Market stalls were abandoned. The stone streets echoed with thunder. As Link entered the courtyard, a piercing neigh split the air. He turned in time to see a horse galloping toward him, Impa astride its back, with Princess Zelda clinging tightly behind. Her golden hair streamed in the wind. As they passed, Zelda's eyes met Link's, filled with urgency and sorrow. With sudden grace, she flung something through the air. It sparkled in the stormlight and landed at Link's feet with a soft chime, a small, mystical ocarina, glowing faintly blue. Before he could react, the ground shook again. A second horse burst through the gate, black as obsidian, its rider cloaked in armor and shadow, Ganondorf. He reined in hard, eyes like burning coals locked on Link. "You! There you are." Link stepped forward silently, blade drawn. Ganondorf chuckled. "So, you want to protect the princess from me? What a pitiful little fool. You think you can stand against me with that tiny sword?" Power crackled around him. Link held firm. Ganondorf's laughter turned to contempt. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." With a sweep of his hand, dark energy slammed into Link, hurling him backwards. As the Dark Lord rode off, the storm surged anew. But the ocarina was safe in Link's grasp. As the storm abated, Link examined the ocarina. It was the Ocarina of Time, a sacred artifact of royal lineage. Zelda had entrusted it to him. That night, in the quiet of Hyrule Castle courtyard, he played the melody she had once hummed beneath the castle's windows. As his fingers moved across the instrument, a voice rang in his mind. Zelda's voice. "Link, play this melody in front of the altar in the Temple of Time. It is the key that opens the door of time." Link gently tucked away Saria's ocarina, wrapping it in silk and placing it within his satchel. It still held her farewell, still echoed with the forest's memory. But a greater purpose now called. He turned toward the temple. The Temple of Time stood silent and solemn at the edge of Castle Town, its white marble arches towering like fingers toward the heavens. Inside, the vast chamber echoed with sacred quiet. At its heart stood the altar of time, marked with 3 golden crests, one for each spiritual stone. Above it, the door of time loomed, a sealed gateway etched with the Triforce symbol and ancient runes. Link approached the altar. He placed the Kokiri's Emerald, the Goron's Ruby, and the Zora's Sapphire into the sockets carved into the stone. Each jewel shimmered with elemental energy, earth, fire, water, aligning in perfect harmony. Then he stepped back and raised the Ocarina of Time to his lips. He played the Song of Time. The notes echoed like a prayer through the chamber. The altar trembled. Light gathered. Stone groaned and split. The door of time slowly opened with a divine hum, revealing a hidden chamber beyond. And there, bathed in sacred light, stood a pedestal. Upon it rested a blade of legend. The Master Sword, the blade of evil's bane, waited in stillness. Its hilt shone blue and gold, its blade gleamed with ancient runes. A legend reborn. Link stepped forward, guided by fate more than choice. He gripped the hilt with both hands and pulled. Light burst from the pedestal. The world spun. 1,000 voices whispered across time. The chamber vanished in a surge of magic, and then stillness. When Link opened his eyes, he was no longer in the temple. He stood within the Chamber of Sages, a radiant void suspended in stars and song. Columns of light rose into the endless sky. In the center, the Master Sword remained at his side, yet something felt different. Before him stood a man in robes, white-bearded and kind-eyed, Rauru, Sage of Light. "Welcome, Hero of Time," Rauru said. "You have drawn the Master Sword, and in doing so, you have opened the gate to the sacred realm. But it is not as we hoped." He paused. "The sword sealed your spirit in slumber for 7 years, for your body was not yet ready to bear the burden. While you slept, the evil you sought to prevent has already come to pass." Link stepped forward, silent, stunned. Ganondorf entered the sacred realm. He has claimed the Triforce of Power, and now reigns as King of Evil over a ruined Hyrule. Rauru's voice softened. "But hope is not lost. The time has come for you to awaken fully as the Hero of Time, and to find the other sages who will help seal Ganondorf's evil away forever." He raised a hand. Step back into the world, hero. The age of legends has begun anew. Light engulfed Link. When it faded, he stood once more in the Temple of Time, the Master Sword still in hand. But he was changed, taller, older, his voice still silent, but his presence stronger. The child was gone. The man had awoken. A faint sound reached him, a footfall behind him. From the shadows stepped a figure clad in blue and white, face hidden behind a veil, eyes sharp as knives. The symbol of the Sheikah glowed on their chest. "The flow of time is always cruel," the figure said. Link turned. "But you have awakened at last, hero of time. The journey ahead will be harder than anything you have faced before." They paused. "My name is Sheik. I have been waiting for you." Link narrowed his eyes. They stepped outside. The wind howled fiercely, and all that could be seen of the green and lush world Link had come to love was now darkness and pain. Even Link was not ready for this world and for what would come next.